Okay, just to ask a question there then. Do you think we're all wired the same? In your research, have you found that if you press the right buttons on everybody, you'll get the same reaction?
Not entirely. No, we are unique, all of us, but we all have the same fundamental structure in that we all share the same neurology as human beings and physiology. Apart from so there are some genetic differences, but yeah, sure, we're all going to be different in our personalities and our beliefs and in our unique skills and talents, but we essentially all have the same kind of body and brain, and the same way of operating the software inside our mind. And really, that's what I'm like. I'm like a computer programmer. So if somebody's overweight, or they want to quit smoking, they can't do, or they've got panic attacks or insomnia, or they suffer from stress, they're not bad, wrong, broken. They've just got faulty programming, and I overwrite the operating software of their brain so that they become more functional. That's why I'm able to get these astounding success rates with helping people lose weight and so on, is because I'm not trying to analyze why it is that they're overweight. What I'm doing is I'm looking at how it is that they've created that pattern, and I go and change it. I spoil the old pattern and install a new pattern. That's all it is.
I've seen you on so many TV shows get people, for example, who can't stand snakes or tarantulas, and they won't even come within 100 feet of them. The next minute, within an hour, you come back and they're happy to hold them. Yeah. Now, have you just put them in some kind of trance? Is this just a momentary thing that they're able to do that, or is this for the rest of their lives?
Well, in most cases, it will be for the rest of their lives. You see, we're only born hardwired with two fears, which is the fear of sudden loud noises or the fear of falling. All the other fears are learned. Therefore, they can be unlearned. I'll give you an example of how phobias are learned. The most common fear and phobia in the Western world right now is the fear of public speaking. And the way that we all get that nicely installed is at school. Stand up, read in front of the class, and I'll point out every mistake you make in front of everyone else so you can feel worthless again and again and again. And so inadvertently, many well-intentioned teachers are actually making us scared to speak in public. You don't feel scared speaking in front of your friends because they're not going to harshly negatively judge you. They're going to laugh or support you or, give you encouragement. And so what I do is I take feelings of power and confidence and I create, if you like, a psychological switch for that. And I get somebody to think of the thing that scares them, and yet I switch on the confidence simultaneously. And it wipes out the old feelings of fear and installs a new feeling of confidence. It's like overwriting the operating software of the brain.
Is this a secret for you? Is this something you've developed, or have you just taken bits of information and research over the years for hundreds of years and put that together? I mean, how have you done this?
I've taken the best from the best people and incorporated it into, to some extent, it's my own particular style. But I actually use a technology which is developed by, I think, the world's greatest living behavioral scientist, Dr. Richard Bandler. He created a technology called NLP. It stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming. And NLP is used by every government in the world, by every major corporation uses NLP, lots of educational institutions. NLP is everywhere. NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, neuro referring to brain, neurology, linguistic, obviously language, and programming, like a computer has programs, so does a human being. So in order to shake hands or write a letter, boil an egg, make £1 million, you have got to rely on the programs inside your body that enable you to do all the things that you do in your everyday life. And the way that you communicate with yourself and others is important in that whole setup. So basically, everything we do comes down to our neuro-linguistic programming. And I know it sounds highly technical, that term, but it's incredibly simple when you actually read it. Anyone who's read my book, Change Your Life in 7 Days, most of the principles in that book are I've taken Richard's work and his NLP models, and I've made them I think simple, hopefully, and easy to understand. So, it's my way of putting it, but essentially I'm using a lot of Richard's work, yeah.
Still to come, we're going to talk about smoking and we're going to talk about weight, because they're the two big issues really in people's lives that they want to get help with. I mean, we've either got one problem or the other these days. We're going to find out about that. Something that I'm curious to find out then, are you using hypnosis to resolve these problems, or is it another technique?
Well, I'm using both. I have some very simple practical rules, principles that anyone can follow them. They're so easy, a monkey could follow them. But in addition, to reinforce the new patterns of behavior, the new ways of thinking and acting in the world, I use hypnosis because it's proven to be the best psychological technique for behavioral change.
Right, so that's the process you use then. Let's move on now and start with weight. When are you out of control? Because we've seen on American TV that there are people who are 50, 60 stone that do not believe they have a problem. I believe I'm 2, 3, 4 stone overweight. I would love a swimmer's body. It's not going to happen. But at what point are we out of control? Because that's the interesting thing, isn't it? When we personally recognize that we need help.
Well, I think it's always got to come from you, because if you don't have the motivation to ask for help or to do something, then it's going to be an uphill struggle. And that really is half of the... I was going to say the battle, but it's not quite a battle. It's half of what's required is for you to go, do you know what, I'm going to do something. So people come up to me from time to time, they say, I want you to make me stop smoking. And I go, God, I bet you do. I bet you'd like me to make all your decisions for you. Yeah. Take responsibility. I say, I can help you. I can take away the cravings. I can make it so that cigarettes don't seem so important. But you've got to make that decision you're going to quit. Otherwise, you're just going to go back to it. And they go, oh, but I go, yeah, I know you thought. No, I'm sorry, you have to have some say in it. I'm a believer in give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish, he eats for life. So many of my techniques are aimed at actually helping people to get more responsibility, get more control of their lives, learn to understand the wisdom of what their body's telling them when, say overeating's a perfect example. Once we tune into our body's natural intelligence and signaling, it's very difficult to overeat, and that's what I do.
Is your skill then tapping into willpower? Is finding the button that makes me want to do it more than previously? Because, if I'm a person who's overweight, there's only 2 reasons I'm overweight, and that's because I either don't do enough exercise or I eat too much, unless there's an obscure medical reason, which in most people's cases is not the case. So is it you just pressing my buttons to make me want to do it more than before?
Well, that's, first of all, with regard to being overweight, that's absolutely true. Yeah, it's eating too much and not exercising. And I would say this, it's not just pushing buttons. It's looking at, what I do is I made a study a few years ago of people who are overweight versus people who are naturally thin. And I watched lots of different things, and I noticed a curious thing. People who are overweight, first of all, they think about food all the time, right? And well, actually, what the 4 golden rules are. Let me do it like this. If you want to lose weight, it's very, very simple, and this works for most people most of the time. Number 1, when you're hungry, go and eat. I'm always meeting people who tell me, I'm on this fabulous diet. I go, come back and tell me about it in 6 months. Well, I'm still waiting for anyone to come back because they never work. If there was a diet that actually worked, they would just be a diet and everyone would stick to it. But, there's one along every 6 months and then another celebrity to endorse it, and it's just nonsense. They don't work. And you know what they start to do now? There are loads of them that start by going, this is not just another diet book. And then 100 pages of recipes. Right? It's utter nonsense. So, first of all, dieting, not only it would be bad enough if it didn't work, but actually it's far worse than that. Dieting makes people fat because when you starve yourself, your metabolism slows down. Your body thinks there's a famine on. It goes into survival mode, so it actually stores fat in the cells. It's the worst thing you can do. It makes you subconsciously tense around food. So whatever you do, when you're hungry, go and eat. The other thing is, some people go, well, it's all because it's the chocolate that does it. No, look. If you want a particular kind of food, have it. Now, if you make a food forbidden, you will crave it and it will become it'll be so much more important to you. So I say to people, already when I've said these 2 golden rules, people are going, oh, you're having a laugh, mate. What? Eat when I'm hungry, eat what I want? Nah, you see, the 3rd rule, and this is the kernel of the system, is the curious thing about people who are overweight is they think about food all the time, except when they're actually eating it. And then what they do is they shovel food in as fast as they can. Now, there's a reason for this. When we eat, we release a happy chemical, neurotransmitter inside our brains called serotonin, which makes us feel good, makes us feel high, in fact. And so this is why people that are overweight shovel food in as fast as they can, because they're getting high from the serotonin. But because they're going at it like the clappers, they can't hear the signal from their tummy that tells them that they're full. So they eat way past the point where they should actually actually stop because they're satisfied. And it's only when suddenly that they've absolutely stuffed themselves, they feel fat and bloated, that they stop. So they feel so guilty about that, they go and do the whole thing again 2 or 3 hours later. Now, the very, very simple thing you can do is when you're hungry, go and eat. Eat what you want, not what you think you should. But this is it. This is the kernel of the system. And people go, it can't be that easy. I know you think that weight loss is difficult because you've been brainwashed by dieting to think it is. It's actually easy, easy, easy. Put the knife and fork down between mouthfuls. Prise your fingers off the sandwich and put your hands down. Put the sandwich down. Instead of trying to shovel as much in, if you slow your eating speed down to a quarter, it feels a bit weird at first, but you soon get used to it, and consciously enjoy each mouthful like a gourmet. Imagine you're French. Sit there, noticing the textures and the tastes. When you do that, suddenly your whole experience of food changes, because people who watch TV or read a magazine while they're shoveling away their food go unconscious. They're not paying attention to their body. They can't hear that signal, that all-important signal from their tummy that tells them they're full. So they eat more than they should, so their stomach becomes larger, so they can eat more the next time and more the next time and so on until they become fatter and fatter. Now, when they stop and they slow the process down and they really pay attention to the how the food tastes, the texture and everything. First of all, it tastes better, but secondly, you can actually hear that signal from your tummy going, I'm satisfied. At that moment, stop. Even if your plate is half full. And people go, well, that's weird. I go, only at the moment it is. For a naturally thin person, it isn't. And they go, but you mean, what if I'm hungry 10 minutes later again? Well, if you're hungry, go and eat again, provided you chew each mouthful consciously and deliberately, and when you think you're full, stop. Now, people go, it can't be this easy. A friend of mine, I did this with him a few years ago. He lost 4.5 stone in 6 months. My tour manager's just done it. He said, I want to come to one of your seminars. I said, I'm going to tell you the process over the phone. He went, all right. And I told him the process. He's lost 1.5 stone in about 2 months. And I can't tell you. If you look you see in my book, I Can Make You Thin, the testimonials. Maureen Edwards lost 18 stone. Using this system. She'd been overweight all her life. She's in her 40s. So people go, oh, it's all right for the youngsters, but us people have been doing it for years. No. You're conning yourself. Look, please, as far as I'm concerned, you can lie to everyone else. Don't lie to yourself. Really dangerous stuff. The number of people who are overweight that will sit there at dinner and, have a perfectly civilized small meal with everyone else, then go home and ram cream cakes, as fast as they can down and feel ashamed about it. All they need to do is to get my book or come to one of the trainings. And I promise you, the chances of you succeeding are extremely high, much higher than they are on these rubbish diets. 7 times more likely to succeed with my system than any other system in the world right now.
So basically what you're telling me then is my upbringing is completely wrong, that you clear your plate. That's the fundamental.
Oh my God. Oh, that's absolutely the Clean Plate Club. I'd like it to be illegal. Yeah, I mean, it's terrible. My mum and dad used to say this. They go, oh, it's starving people in Ethiopia. I go, and me being overweight helps them how? It's nonsense. You're absolutely right. You want to leave food on your plate. People go, but it's wasting it. Look, the moment the chicken is cooked, it's wasted. Where do you want that chicken? On your backside or on your plate? Look, if you are hungry, go and eat. Tell your body there will always be enough food, so it doesn't need to slow the metabolism. It doesn't need to be in survival mode. Eat it slowly, consciously, really taste it, and then as soon as you even suspect you're full, stop. And I guarantee if you follow those principles, you cannot not lose weight. By the way, my friend who lost the 4.5 stone, he didn't do a single bit of formal exercise. He didn't go to the gym. Because, you see, a lot of people think that exercise means, running on a track. The average British man takes about 6,000 steps a day. The average British woman about 5,000. Somebody who's overweight takes only 2,000 less steps. That's about a 15, 20-minute walk, right? 4 city blocks. So all you have to do is walk a little bit more each day, and and that's good exercise, by the way, you're doing the same amount of exercise as somebody who's not overweight. And suddenly when you put it like that, people go, oh, I could do that. I go, I know you can. A lot of people I know are really thin. They don't do any formal exercise, but they're rushing about all day because their metabolism's fast, because they're not slowing it down by starving themselves on some stupid diet. And so what I'm saying to you is exercise can be easy. A lot of people I know at the beginning of the year, they go, right, that's it. I've been a sinful, evil person. I've eaten too much at Christmas. I must punish myself by going to the gym. And then they get to the gym and it's too much like hard work. They pack it in after a week and they go, oh, it's not for me. It's for those thin people. people. Duh! It's not at all. It's just a state of mind.
You see, I am a fatty, and I know I am, and I do that all the time. I go out to eat, and they say, would you like a chocolate after dinner? No, I'm on a diet. And then, of course, I go home and have a biscuit. I mean, and you do it. You know, I can admit that. I know I'm a fatty, but so it's putting less importance on it. That's the key as well. Not over-worrying about it, just listening to your body then. That's the absolute key, listening to your body.
Just listening to your body. Your body's really smart. In order to, and by the way, everyone in the world at some point has, behaviors that don't support them. People who are overweight, as far as I'm concerned, it's not your fault. It's not. It's the fault of your programming, your conditioning. And, some people change the way they feel through food. Some people change the way they feel through alcohol, gambling, television, sex, any shopping, any number of things. You're not bad or wrong or broken. It's just a bad habit, and habits can be changed.